So hello everyone, today we are going to start with day 9. We have already completed pad, pocket, shaft and groove. We have also completed rib and slot command. Today we are going to see solid combine and stiffener command. So to start with, I am going to start with stiffener command. First we are going to make one base. For that I'll say center rectangle here. Provide the dimensions. I'll say 300. The other value I'll say it as 140. Say exit sketch. Say pad. We'll take it as 20 mm. Say OK. Next we are going to make two conditions here. First we are going to make one straight wall. For that we'll take corner rectangle here. And now we need to make these edges to project to sketch. For that we have the command here. Project 3D elements. Just double click on it. Select both the edges here and say construction geometry for both the edges. These are only for reference purpose. We will get these reference lines here in construction mode. After putting them in construction, put off the construction option, and now I'll say this line coincide with the construction line. This line of rectangle and this construction line as coincide. We'll take them coincide. Same on the other side as coincide. Say OK. Next we are going to go for the side value. So I'm going to take it as 10 mm and the width of this rectangular shape as 23 mm. Say exit sketch and say pad here. We'll say it 100 mm. One more scenario we are going to create here by the cylindrical surface. So I'm going to make one cylindrical shape here. For that I'll say this top face as sketch. Go for the circle and provide the value for this circle now as diameter. So I'm going to take this value as 70 mm diameter. Say exit sketch and go for pad command. I'll say it as 60 mm. Now I'll take this mid plane here for this body, and now we are going to draw one line for this stiffener. So for stiffener we don't require any close sketch, only one line is enough, but that line should be constrained. We'll take these 2 points and say coincide. Same on the other side as 2 points coincide. Next we need to provide the dimension for the location of endpoint. So I'm going to say it as 55. Now this line is being placed here. Say exit sketch. Now we are having one single line, open sketch, and we'll go for the command that is stiffener. In other design software it is called as rib. Here in CATIA we call it as stiffener. Select the stiffener command and select the line. Provide the thickness required. So I'm going to take this thickness here as 8 mm, and that too the condition will be neutral fiber. Means 8 mm will be divided on both the sides, 4 mm on one side and 4 mm on the other side. Suppose if I take this value as 10 mm, then this 10 mm will be divided neutrally on both the sides as 5 mm. Say preview and say OK. Now the stiffener has been made here. If I want to edit this feature, I'll just go in model tree here. Select this stiffener and say double click for editing it. Suppose here if I don't want neutral fiber, I want this thickness to be taken at one side only, then I'll put off this option that is neutral fiber, and then you can see here it is coming at the left side. If I want to reverse the direction, it is now totally coming on right side. Again reverse, it will come on left side. So you can switch this thickness left or right according to the profile, or else if you want it to be divided equally, then you can go for neutral fiber. Now this arrow you can see at downside, it is going to come on downsides. It is because we have the supports on downsides only. If I say it reverse, it will show error here. We can reverse it from this depth option also. We can see here as we say reverse, this arrow is coming upper side, but there is no support to add the material here. That's why this arrow should come at the downside only, as we have these supports here. Say preview and OK. Now this stiffener can be in other shapes also. Suppose if I delete this option stiffener, and I'll again go for the sketch here, say sketch to the mid plane or any plane you require, and I'll go for the sketch on the sides now this time. I'll say this right side, say OK. Instead of one line I'm going to take two lines here, but still it is going to be an open sketch only. So we have taken two lines. I'm going to say this endpoint of the line coincide at the feature, and by giving dimensional constraint also we can provide the relations. Say coincide here. Same way I'll provide the dimension on this side. Say this as 50 mm, and this height we are going to take here as 25. and I'll say this endpoint of this line should be coincided with the upper edge. Select the point and the edge, say right click and go for coincide relation. So instead of dimensioning, we can also give relations by using this constraint command. Now say exit sketch and go for the command that is stiffener. Now it is showing an error here. It is because the neutral fiber option has been on, but we have drawn the sketch at the end of this plate. So it is not having support on both the sides. That's why we should off this neutral fiber here. After that we can take it on one side only. I'm taking it on right side. If I say reverse direction, it will again show an error. It is because there is no support for the other side. For that only it is not taking neutral fiber also. See, if we say reverse direction on the left side, there is no support for that. So again we'll say reverse direction only, and now it will come on the right side. Say preview and OK. So by two lines also we can take this stiffener here. I'll delete this one again. This time we'll take plane here. Say reference plane. I'll say 20 mm inside. So I'll say reverse direction and say OK here. Say sketch. And now this time for the sketch we are going to take arc instead of line. So for that I'm going to select this circle option and say 3-point arc starting with limits. First point, second point and this third point. I'll say this point to be coincide on this corner edge. Say relation as coincide, and then this point to be coincided on the upper edge. Say coincide again. Now here we need to provide the radius value also. For that we are going to take this value as 150. Say OK. Next go for the stiffener command, say exit workbench and select the stiffener. Select the sketch here and we can see here it is coming divided by neutral fiber, say OK. So in this way also you can provide the stiffener in the arc form. Next we are going to go for this option that is for cylindrical shape. Now in case of cylindrical shape there might be some errors. So for that we are going to make one sketch on the mid plane here. Now this sketch should coincide with the cylindrical edge here. So if I want to coincide this point on the cylindrical face, we need to have one sketch here. So to coincide this point on the cylindrical edge, we need to have some reference here. So for that we are going to go and say project two elements again. And this time we are going to select this third option, project 3D see what edges. It is because this feature is cylindrical in shape. That's why we need to select this option, that is third one. And then click on the surface here. You can see here, these two lines are been coming as projected lines. We'll make this line construction, and now we can coincide this point on this line. Say coincide. So this point also coincide on this edge, and now we need to provide the dimension here, and here we'll say 50 mm, and this dimension here we are going to take it as 8 mm. Now we have kept distance of 8 mm. You need to remember this point that we have kept some distance here. Say exit sketch and go for stiffener command. This time there will be no issue for making this stiffener. It is coming by neutral fiber as 10 mm thickness. Say OK and finish. You can see the shape is coming as in arc form, and these two edges are being intersected to body at some upper height than the sketch point. Here the line's end point was here in between, but these 2 points are coming a little bit higher in height because there was a material above side. That's why they are being intersected at some little bit above height. But if I change the condition, suppose if I say delete to the stiffener again go for the same plane as sketch, say project, see what edges, make them construction, and then go for the line command. Put off the construction first and then go for the line command. We have made this line, say coincide with the edge, and now put up the value for making it constraint here. I'll say the base I need at 60 mm from the corner of the cylindrical face, and here I'll say exit workbench, and if I say stiffener this time, then you can see here this arrow is coming at downside, still it is showing topological error. It is because this line is intersected at the toppest of the cylindrical body. Now if I go for the neutral fiber lines that are to be intersected by side, adding the thickness, there is no space above and the shape is cylindrical. That's why it will show error here. So to resolve this issue, we can do one thing, that double click on this sketch and add one more line here. Now this adjustment is done in SolidWorks and Solid Edge softwares also. Say exit sketch again, and after adding one line, I'll go for stiffener again, select the line, and now we can see these two side edges are being intersected to the body here. First they were not been intersected as there was no material above, but this time they are being intersected here because of this horizontal line. Say preview and say OK. There will be one small wedge formation, but still there is no other way to make stiffener than this. So we have to make this by adjustment only, by adding one horizontal line if there is a circular edge here. One horizontal line in case of cylindrical body if it is coming from start point. Only then. So after completing the stiffener command, we are going to go for the next type here. First we have seen stiffener and now we are going to see solid combine. So to start with solid combine, the need of solid combine is where when we have two cross sections perpendicular to each other. Means we are going to have two sketches that will be perpendicular to each other by two planes. And both these sketches will be combined together to make one body. That is known as solid combine. So to start with, I am going to make one view on front plane. So start with this front plane here, say sketch. And now we are going to make one profile here. For that we are going to select center rectangle. So I'm going to select a center rectangle. Next we are going to go for dimensioning. Say this dimension here as, I'm going to take it as 280. And this dimension we are going to take it here as 120. So after putting the values, place the values properly so as to understand this sketch here. Next we are going to take one circle here. So on the midpoint. And now we have made one circle. Next we are going to make one slot also here. So for slot, I'm going to select the rectangle command in which we are going to get this option, that is elongated hole. So here the elongated hole will come. This is the elongated hole here. And place the hole at the center here. So I'm going to take one center line. Make this line construction geometry. Only for reference purpose we have made this line. We are going to take this line coincide with the first line, that is rectangle line. We are going to provide the radius now. So the radius we are going to take here is 20 and the center to center distance we are going to go for that. So we'll take the center to center distance as 60 here. Now we'll trim the extra entities which we don't require. So I'll say quick trim. Now this line, it is moving and it is not horizontal, that's why it is moving. So I'm going to provide the relation so as to make it constraint. Next trim the extra line in between also here. So this line also. We also need to trim the circle here. This line also. Say yes. Now this point, it is moving, so we need to provide the distance again. So the total dimension was 280, so I'm going to take it as 140 as half value. Next we need to say this point coincide with this axis. As we have made trim command, so some references were deleted. That's why we are going to repeat this relations again. The other side value also, make it 140. Now we have this profile here made on front plane. So I'll say exit sketch. So we'll calculate the distance. This is 140. Then this is total as 280. And then the radius we have taken here as 60. So this 280 plus 60 means it is going to be 340 mm. The distance from this quadrant point till the end point, that is 340 mm. Say exit workbench. Now we are going to take perpendicular plane for this second one. So I'm going to select this plane here, that is right plane coming perpendicular to the front plane. Say sketch to this right plane now. Now we are going to make the second profile. For that we are going to take this line, make this end point coincided with this line. Next I'll project this line here for reference purpose. Say project to element in construction mode. Now I'll provide the symmetricity here. Select the two ends of the line and make this two ends symmetric with the center line, projected line. I'll take this value here as 60 mm. Next we are going to continue with this sketch. So we'll continue in this form. So we'll make one profile here by this sketch. Put up the values. So I'm going to take this value as 30. This value coming from this center, I'll take this as 60. And then this last value again as 30. We'll make this line coincide with this sketch. And now we are going to mirror these lines here. First, second, third, fourth and fifth. These lines we are going to mirror it with this axis. Say exit sketch. I'll hide the planes here. And now we can see we are having two profiles. This one is the first profile made on front plane, and this is the second profile made on right plane that was perpendicular to front plane. Now we are going to go for the command that is solid combine. Now for the profile we are going to select the sketch which was made first as a first component. Then for second component we are going to select the second profile and say preview. And we can see we are having this object here. We'll make it normal. You just need to select the orientation as front view. So in front view, the part will appear as the sketch was drawn in front view. And from side view, this part will appear as the sketch was drawn in side view. You can see here. So this was the profile made on right hand side plane. And from front it will look as the profile was made in front view. So this is the command that is solid combine. You can see here. By two sketches combining together we have made this profile. So this was solid combine command. We'll apply the appearance here. Say solid combine. So for appearance we are going to select this part body. Say right click and go for properties, and we can go for graphics window here. Select the required appearance or color type you want. Say apply and close. This is the part being made by using solid combine command. Earlier we have also seen stiffener. So after completing this solid combine we are going to go for the next command, which will come under dress up features. In dress up features we have already seen fillet and chamfer commands. Today we are going to see shell command. So to start with shell command we are going to make one part here. Say part, control new and say part. Provide the name for the part. I am going to say it shell command only. Say OK. And for applying the shell command we are going to make one part which will be in a simple cubical shape. For that we are going to take center rectangle again here. Select the center rectangle. Provide the required dimensions. So I am going to select these two sides. I will say this value as 300, and here we are going to take this value as 150. Place the dimensions properly. Next we are going to say exit workbench, and we are going to pad this rectangle. I'll say mirror profile on both the sides, so it will come above 40 and below 40. Total extrusion or pad will be of 80 mm. We are going to go for the command in dress up features. But if the command bar is not present, you can click on this empty space, right click and see the toolbar where you can see here dress up features. Just put on the toolbar. So we have this command that is shell command. So in shell command will provide the thickness for hollow part. So the constant thickness for inner sides I am going to take it here as 4 mm. And for outer side thickness I will keep this value as 0 only. So we can provide both inner and outer side thicknesses. Say OK. So now the part has been made hollow. We can see here. As soon as I click on this feature, this inner sides are showing in rectangular edges because the part has been made hollow inside and the material has been removed. Suppose if I double click on it and say faces to remove, select this face as a removal face and say OK. So now this face has been removed and we can see the common thickness now. The thickness was 4 mm. So from each side the thickness is coming constant, that is 4 mm, even from the bottom side. We can add the thickness at outer sides also. For that I will double click here and say this default outer side thickness also as 4 mm. So now the total thickness is 8 mm. At inner sides it is 4 mm and also at outer side it is coming as 4 mm. So shell command can be applied to the part by adding thickness on both the sides, that is on inner as well as outer sides. Now if I want to remove more faces here, say double click on the feature, faces to remove, I will add this face also and say OK. So this face is also been removed now. Suppose if I want to add some other thickness also on the side, instead of constant thickness, if I want to go and change the thickness of any one face or two faces, we can do that also. Again, double click on the shell command and here we have the option other thickness faces. So I'm going to select this box here. Click on the face where you want to add the thickness which is not common. So I'm going to select this face here. Now it is showing two values when you zoom it here. That is inner side thickness as well as outer side thickness. So I'm going to change this value for the outer side thickness and we'll take this parameter as 15 here. Say OK. Now here the inner side thickness is 4 mm, but the outer side thickness is added as 15 mm. So the total thickness will be 19 mm here. We'll just cross check it, say measure item, click on the edge, and we can see this value is coming 19. 4 mm inside and 15 mm outside. So multiple thicknesses also can be applied on the faces by using shell command. Same way, if you want to apply the thickness at the inner sides, double click it here, select the element where you want to apply the different thickness, and here we need to add the face at other thickness faces. So I'm going to select this box and then add the face where I want to change the thickness. So the inner thickness here it is coming as, so I'm going to double click here to change the thickness, and inner side thickness I want this time as 8 mm. Say okay now, and we can see here. So here the total thickness is 15 mm at the outer sides and 8 mm at the inner sides. So in this way you can apply the shell command here by using multi-thickness also. So these were the commands for today which we were going to see. We have seen stiffener command, solid combine, as well as shell command by using multi-thickness and constant thickness. So this was the lecture for today. We'll continue with the upcoming lectures. So if you want to learn CATIA, follow the playlist for CATIA. We have made lectures from Sketcher till this command now. You can also apply for offline courses. The number will be given in the link below. Till then, thank you.